Nerdly presents the feed where the reels unwind. Off the real podcast, digging deep in the grind. 80 flicks, low cash, big dreams in the frame. No blockbuster hype, just the realest in the game. Reviews so sharp, we cut through the noise. Breaking down the shots with the cinematic.
Okay guys, we have been doing this for a while now. I've been reviewing for a while now. I feel like I have earned your goodwill, and I say all this because I'm reviewing the new movie Bang from director Wych Kaosayananda. If that name isn't familiar to you, back in 2002, he went by just Kaos, and he made this movie called Ballistic X vs. Seva, starring Antonio Banderas and Lucy Liu, commonly referred to as the worst rated movie on Rotten Tomatoes. Like, not just 0%, but the worst of the 0%ers. Now, what I will say is I genuinely actually kind of love that movie. It tried to cash in on a lot of the Matrix kind of themes, the bullet time, the gun fu, all that kind of thing. There must have been something going behind the scenes in terms of production and money and whatnot. I don't know the ins and outs. I just know that a lot of people don't like that movie, but I actually kind of do, and I'm not going to sit here and apologize for it, because if you know anything about me, I'll give pretty much anything a chance, and if I can find something to latch onto, by God, by Christ, by crikey, I will latch onto that. That was 2002, and over the years, he has made a couple of other movies, One Night in Bangkok and The Driver, just a couple of them with Mark Dacascos. Big fan of Mark Dacascos, especially what he's doing nowadays. I will say those movies are not terrible either. My name is Kevin Halden. This is Nerdly Presents Off the Reel. This is an off the reel review of the movie Bang. I could not wait to get into this, so what I will do is what I normally do. I'll talk about the plot of the movie with as few spoilers as humanly possible. Then I'll get into the cast and the crew of this movie. Then I will give you my final Nerdly Presents Off the Reel review rating. And I will start by going to the IMDb and just letting you know what it says about this movie. Bang follows a ruthless hitman who, after narrowly escaping a fatal attempt on his life, betrays his gang in an effort to find forgiveness, but ends up becoming a target himself. So we've kind of seen stuff like this before. It does ring a few bells with Leon, a movie that I absolutely love, or The Professional, whichever title you want to go by. So let's get a little bit deeper into what the plot actually is. And we do meet hitman for hire William Bang, and he is working for Peter Weller of all people, RoboCop of all people. And he does seem to be one of these hitmen who can just get the job done. He's awesome, he's really good, he gets in, he gets out, no fuss, no muss, and then he's away. But one night he is out in a nightclub and somebody else tries to take him out, shoots him about 4 or 5 times, 7 or 8 times in fact, and basically leaves him for dead. But Peter Weller's like, my man ain't going out like that. If this guy dies, so does everybody else here. Make sure he lives. It turns out at the same time there is like a car crash out there somewhere, and the husband dies, leaving a wife and child, and William Bang is given the husband's heart. He feels some sort of like weird morality to that and ends up getting in contact with the wife, and meanwhile also realizing that actually the stuff I've been doing and the life I've been leading isn't necessarily the life that I really want, so it's time to get out. But we're already told near the start of the movie, nobody gets out. You have to do what you have to do. So it becomes this thing of he's just going to go along and he's going to do the kills, and when it's time to leave, he will leave. What the gang later finds out, or one of the other hitmen, part of the gang, I think it's like the boss's son, he realized that William Bang is seeing this woman, he's got this little bit of a life going on, and he's starting to not want to be there, and moreover, some of the kills that he's been doing may not have actually been done, and there's a little bit something else going on here. And that is a little bit of a twist, but I'll be completely honest with you, that doesn't really matter, because that's not where the movie lies. The movie lies in a lot of its action. The movie lies in what it's doing with the gunplay, what it's doing with William Bang and the woman that he's kind of slowly falling in love with, or at least feeling very protective for, because they don't really over egg the chemistry or the relationship too much. They just kind of insert him into her life wife, and he becomes very protective of her. And then the movie does become basically a fight for survival. Can William Bang ever get out of this situation? Can he be left alone? Can he leave this life behind? Or will the gang never ever stop following him? They will make sure they will take him down, take him to his grave. So let's get into the cast and crew of the movie, starting with William Bang himself, Jack Kesy. Jack Kesy as an actor is not somebody I'm massively over familiar with, but when I look through his IMDb, he has had quite a few bit parts in movies that I do know, and I did recognize his face because he did play Hellboy in Hellboy the Crooked Man, and other than Ron Perlman, I think he's a bloody good Hellboy. He could easily take that and make some more Hellboy movies. I don't know if he ever will, but I really liked him in that movie. In this movie, I found him quite believable. He is playing that stoic, strong, silent, so he doesn't have a massive great deal of dialogue. He doesn't need to have a massive great deal of dialogue because what he's saying is very matter of fact and very it is what it is. He clearly does have some fighting chops because he's doing a little bit of the punchy kicky stuff. He clearly knows his way around a gun because he's doing a lot of hitman shooty stuff, and that is all you really need for this movie. I didn't need Brad Pitt. I didn't need George Clooney. Jack Kesy would absolutely do for this movie because his style of acting is absolutely what it needed. So I didn't have a problem there. And playing along against him, you have Peter Weller, who we all know from the likes of RoboCop, Star Trek. Peter Weller is an actor that has been around for as long as films have been a thing. And Peter Weller nowadays just seems to be loving what he's doing. When he gets to play the villain, he hams it up like a mofo. And in this movie, he's absolutely hamming it up. And I love him for it. He makes me feel like, yeah, okay, this situation isn't necessarily as grounded as you want it to be. It is a little bit out there, cockamamie, bullshit, batshit. But that's what we love about movies like this. He's basically saying, I'm the gang leader, you work for me, and if you don't work for me, well, you die. And I love this about Peter Weller. He is, for me, the MVP of this movie. He does get all of the best lines, brings us really dark comedy and really dark humor. Whether it's intentional or not, I'm not 100% certain, but I like to think Peter Weller knows what he's doing with this movie, and the movie knows what it is. Peter Weller knows what the movie is. The only person we really need to be acting like a real, proper human being who would be out in the world is Jack Kesy as William Bang, and that's what he's doing. We do have a ton of other characters in here and a ton of other actors in here that are absolutely doing their best and making this movie work to its full potential. Nobody that I'm really going to highlight too much because really the movie is about William Bang and Peter Weller. I keep saying William Bang. It's about Jack Kesy and Peter Weller, who are kind of going to go against each other, and you're really just waiting for that moment to happen. So what we do have is a really cool ensemble of everyone who knows their role, knows what they're supposed to do, brings an absolute level of believability to it, or that little bit of outrageousness to it when you need that little bit of outrageousness. And as a director, Kaos knows exactly what he's after. He's got the perfect cast together. He's got all these people together. Yes, he doesn't have a massive budget, probably because in years gone by, he's been given a massive budget and people do wonder why. So here, I feel like he's dealing with a budget that is respectable, but, you know, it is exactly what he should be making, and he makes the most of it. His set pieces are really cool. We have like this rundown villa set piece that I really liked, where there's a big battle that happens in there, and I loved that set because it meant we could move around, we could do all this kind of thing. But I have to say, it probably didn't cost a lot to shoot there because it did look a bit derelict, but it was perfect for the movie. So I will say that yes, this director knows exactly where he is, what he's meant to be doing, but he puts his heart and soul into it. And I felt every bit of his passion in this movie, trying to make this movie as good as it possibly could be. Does it have the shine of the likes of Ballistic X vs. Sever? Not really. Does it have the shine of One Night in Bangkok? Not really. It doesn't have the actors that would get you to that level either, but it does have a whole sense of we know what we are and we know what we're doing. And if you don't enjoy it, you don't enjoy it. But if you do enjoy it, well, we won you over. We got one more set of eyeballs, one more heart, one more bit of passion into this movie. I'm not going to sit here and say I love this movie. Spoiler alert, I'm not going to give this movie a 5 out of 5. I'm really not. But genuinely, I enjoyed it. It was a fun time. It was just one of these movies that I put on. I got into the story for what it was. Yes, the plot is a little bit threadbare. Okay, we get a couple of twists to kind of mess around with things a little bit and mess with this concept. But it's not going to change your world, and it's not going to make you think anything else about movies like this. And I adore directors who, yes, okay, have been shat on in the past, but they're not bothered. They're going to come back and they're going to keep grinding away and they're going to keep making their movies. One thing that I will say was, though, I have been enjoying movie scores as of late. I've been enjoying movie soundtracks as of late, and I felt like this movie could have done with a bit of a better soundtrack. And again, harkening back to Ballistic X vs. Sever, what a soundtrack that thing had. Yeah, it was a bit nuts, it was a bit synthy, a bit retro. Well, considered retro now, it wouldn't have been retro back then, but it was a cool little soundtrack that I quite enjoyed. This movie doesn't really have that. It doesn't really strike you in the way that a nice soundtrack would have. And the fight sequences, it does become all gunplay, all explosions, all gunshots. Whereas I think a nice, well-placed score would have maybe done something a little bit extra. But in saying that, we got some really cool choreography. And that is enough to win me over in a lot of cases. As threadbare as the plot is, it makes sense. And that works for me. I got everybody's motivations in the movie. I understand why people were doing the weird things they were doing. So in that sense, it won. I don't have much all else to say about this movie, so I'm going to jump into my Nerdly Presents Off the Reel rating. And it is my review rating of this movie. You can go over to nerdly.co.uk, your favourite British website, for all your news, reviews and exclusive interviews. Somebody over there may have also reviewed this movie. I'm going to take a wild stab in the dark and say probably not, but somebody may have, so please do check out that. But most of all, just check it out for yourself. It's nice to do your market research and figure out what other people think about movies, but often the best way is just to watch it yourself. And if you do watch this movie, do hit me in the comments down below. Let me know what you thought about the film. We can carry on the conversation down there. If you think it was absolute dog shit, let me know down there and I'll tell you why you're wrong. If you thought it was absolutely amazing and the best thing you've ever seen in your life, I will probably also tell you why you are wrong, but fair play, you enjoyed it more than most people will. So yeah, as a rating, I'm going to give this movie a 3 out of 5. It's better than your average movie. It is a little bit better than that. I think everybody's motivations, the acting, everybody's putting in a ton of effort. Peter Weller absolutely steals the film from everyone. I mean, if I had to give Peter Weller his own rating, I'd probably give him a 5 out of 5 because he's just loving what he's doing, hamming it up, ham on top of cheese, and I just love that for Peter Weller, so there is that as well. But this movie itself, I couldn't really go much more than a 3 out of 5. I think people will enjoy it, it'll find a little audience, and who knows, we may have a new low-budget underground franchise that we can all latch onto, the new William Bang franchise, like maybe the second one's called Bang Bang, I don't know, let's do something like that. But as a director, it's great to see Kaos back at it again, still doing what he loves doing, and that is making movies. For better or worse, he's making movies, he's doing his passion, and I love to see that. So yeah, 3 out of 5. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the movie. If you have a chance to see it, I will continue the conversation down there. In the meantime, please do hit that like, hit that subscribe, and ding that notification bell. It does help us out with the algorithm. We are slowly trundling away, and as you will see from down below, I am doing as much work as I possibly can to get these reviews out to you and to let you know about some of the movies you probably wouldn't see otherwise. So please do check that out and give me some likes and subscribes and some love for doing what I do. My name's been Kevin Halden. This is me on my way out, but if I don't see you in the cinema, I'll see you in the next review.